When we think of peak wealth today, our minds usually go straight to the tech industry. We picture the founders of the internet age or the pioneers of global e-commerce. These fortunes are massive, hovering around the $200 billion mark, defining the ceiling of modern riches. But if you go back to the 14th century, you'll find the ruler of the Mali Empire, Mansa Musa. If you combined the net worth of every top billionaire alive today, you still wouldn't reach his level of wealth. In fact, historians and economists literally classify his net worth as incalculable. Musa generated and defended this wealth through a highly protective, perfectly engineered macroeconomic system. The story starts with a massive failure. In 1312, the king of Mali became obsessed with finding the edge of the Atlantic Ocean. He loaded up thousands of ships with men and supplies and sailed west. Not a single ship ever returned. The entire fleet vanished. And suddenly, his deputy minister, a man named Musa, was handed the throne. Musa was essentially a backup king facing an existential threat. He needed to rapidly scale the empire's revenue to secure his power. But if he squeezed his own citizens too hard for taxes, he risked a massive rebellion. To secure his power, Musa pivoted Mali's entire strategy, turning the kingdom into a ruthlessly efficient global economic toll booth. His first move was expansion. Musa's military stretched the empire's borders all the way from the Atlantic coast in the west to the banks of the Niger River. Look at this map of West Africa. Musa targeted two specific regions, the north, which was rich in salt, and the south, which was packed with gold. In the Sahara Desert, salt was critical for preserving food, making it literally as valuable as gold. But here's the brilliant part. Musa didn't own or operate these gold mines himself. He kept their exact locations a strict state secret. Instead of digging the gold out of the ground, he let local miners trade it to middlemen. Then he heavily taxed the movement of those goods. Every time a merchant crossed into Mali, they paid a toll. When they left, they paid another toll. By controlling the transit routes instead of the physical labor, Musa built a frictionless revenue stream. He collected all the profits with zero operational overhead. Historically, when a nation hoards this much wealth, two things happen: neighbors invade or citizens rebel. Musa bypassed both of these threats using a highly counterintuitive defense strategy: radical religious and cultural tolerance. While Islam was the official state religion, which conveniently kept the surrounding Islamic nations as close allies, he didn't force it on his citizens. He allowed pagan tribes and newly conquered regions to practice their own beliefs freely. By removing religious friction, he eliminated the main catalyst for internal uprisings. This meant 100% of the state's energy could stay entirely focused on compounding its economic growth. In 1324, Musa decided to bring his empire's wealth out into the open world. He embarked on the Hajj, the traditional Islamic pilgrimage across the Sahara Desert to Mecca. This chart shows the scale of what he brought with him. A standard 14th century merchant caravan was a small sliver. Musa's caravan was a moving city of 60,000 people, including 12,000 slaves and dozens of camels. And they were carrying a staggering payload, nearly 20,000 kilograms of raw gold. All of it was meant purely for charity and building new infrastructure along their route. As Musa traveled through the Middle East, he handed out gold to the local populations with absolute generosity. By injecting a massive, sudden supply of gold into the local market, Musa completely destroyed its value. Look at this graph showing the historical value of gold in the region. It holds steady for years, but in 1324, it takes a sheer vertical plunge. This chart expands to show what happened next. As the value of gold plummeted, the red line showing the cost of everyday goods violently spiked upward. This is hyperinflation, a severe economic crisis where prices rise rapidly and uncontrollably because the currency loses its value. It was the first time in recorded history that a single man's charity crashed an entire regional economy. But this golden age didn't last. After Musa died, his ministers grew greedy. They abandoned his careful systems of hidden trade routes and religious tolerance, causing the conquered territories to break away. This fortune was the direct result of brilliant systemic design. Once that design was abandoned, the wealth evaporated almost immediately.